My goodness. Like, I love Aragorn, I do, obviously. But my man, just let him snip it. Just let him get him. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, blah, 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 honour, do you know, whatever. Like, the guy just spit on you. If he spat on me like that, I would absolutely ruin him. No. I cannot tell you the fire of anger. Oh my goodness.
Where is Theodred?
I guess it does highlight, right, the difference between Theoden and Aragorn. And I guess maybe the reflections of what kind of kings they are, or, you know, what kind of king Aragorn will be. It seeds here how pure and honourable Aragorn is. Man, and this is the thing, this is the price, right? Saruman's influence. But that's his strong motivation right there, to come at Saruman.
Now it shall cover the grave of my son.
Such a huge blow for him, coming out of his stupor.
The young perish and the old linger.
But again, it's this almost comparison or commentary on the waning of kings, opening the way for Aragorn. Hello folks, and welcome to part 2 of the Two Towers, my Two Towers coverage. Thank you for being here. Welcome one and all. Sorry, I'm totally pretending that I'm watching it right now. I have recorded this separately because I honestly don't know where I'm actually going to break the two parts yet. So I have finished the film at this point. A little bit of time travel for you. Hello, Future Tyler here. Hello, just call me the Doctor. Welcome one and all. Thank you very much for joining me. And let's go.
This is but a taste of the terror that Saruman will unleash. Ride out and meet him head on.
Bold. A bold strategy.
And children.
Yeah, that's so interesting there, isn't it? He's instantly reminded of Grima, whispering in his ear, hand on the throne.
They will be 300 leagues from here by now.
And it informs this how he acts here, I think. I feel like he's got this trauma, which is absolutely understandable from Grima and this spell.
I will not risk open war.
Open war is upon you. Whether you would
Again.
risk it or not.
This comparison between the two kings and where they stand and what they stand for as people.
Theoden, not Aragorn, was king of Frodo.
More almost of an overt challenge to his kingship, right? I know it's not a challenge, but kind of.
Then what is the king's decision?
The film has, you know, since he's been back like this, it's compared him and Aragorn a couple times.
Take only what provisions you need.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Gandalf fails. They're not listening to him. But it's interesting how they seeded that and how that scene went. The reason that went the way it went was literally because Gandalf, kind of unwisely, I think, and hey, he's got bigger things on his mind, right? Fair play to him. I think that's a reflection of where Gandalf is as well, right? He's got all of these things in his head. You know, that scene before where he's got, you know, this checklist, right? That's constant. I feel like it's constantly just whizzing through his head. You know, it's like he's got to do this. And I feel like to some extent, Gandalf, while he is calm and he is, you know, prepared and focused, he is kind of almost overwhelmed, right? There's not really much room for much else. And I feel like we saw that in that scene there, where he kind of failed to see what he was doing and how that would make Theoden feel, considering he's just come out of this very, I think, deeply traumatizing period of his life. And, you know, Theoden was in this position, and sulfurled as he was, that he couldn't fight back against that. And, you know, and you saw it, and you know, the film very specifically showed you that, of Gandalf putting his hand on the throne and whispering in his ear. And you saw Theoden's reaction to that, and I think that immediately got his back up and you know, probably evoked in him this fear, I think, and through that fear, anger, and automatically almost made him go against what Gandalf was saying because of his trauma. It's interesting because I feel like Gandalf's single-mindedness worked against him there.
The defenses have to hold.
And this slowly giving Aragorn more to bear.
300 lives of men. I walk this earth, and now I have no time.
Yeah, 300 lives of men. You're reminded of his age, his vastness, his power, what he's seen. Such a weary line as well. A little bit more character building for Aragorn.
His name is Brago.
We are all suckers, aren't we, in fantasy, for guys talking to horses. Just people talking to horses and horsecraft.
Turn this fellow free. He has seen enough of war.
Oh, so kind.
Gandalf the fool.
Ooh, someone's a little bit bitter.
To humble me with his newfound piety.
Sounds like he has a little bit, mate.
You stink of horse.
Zero respect.
The man.
He bore a strange ring.
Don't like how observant you are. I'll be honest with you, mate.
It matters not. The world of men shall fall.
Yeah, it's so interesting, his characterization as well, right? Because you can kind of understand almost Saruman, right? Everything he knows and how long lived he is and what he's seen and the failing of the kingdom of men, you would absolutely understand why he would have, like, no faith in them. Do you know what I mean? And how he would be in this place of, like, we have no chance. These guys can't face Sauron. They're just not together. There's no strength in men anymore, right?
You've some skill with a blade.
Man, his dagger is so beautiful.
Women of this country learned long ago. Those without swords can still die upon them. I fear neither death nor pain.
Nice. Nice.
What do you fear, my lady?
A cage. To stay behind bars until use and old age accept them. And all chance of valor.
Oh, his little expression there. Oh, sorry. That was so beautiful. Aragorn's little expression there of kind of... the way that she said that, and like, I feel like he saw the way that she feels Kate. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he sees and he is empathetic enough to know the role of women in this world. And not only that, the role of women and how it's pained Eowyn. Well, it's her fear, right? It's her greatest fear. And it's so interesting. I mean, hey, Viggo Mortensen, well done, mate, because the acting there and that just that little look that he had was so beautifully empathetic to her plight. And it didn't come across as condescending. He felt it, right? He felt that right there. Oh, that was so beautiful. Well done. Well done, Viggo. Absolute props to that man.
You're a daughter of kings, a shield maiden of Rohan.
Yes, what a king. Instantly validates her.
I do not think that will be your fate.
And bless her, right? It's been, you know, how old is she? And this is the first time probably that a man has actually done that to her, you know, validated her and not made her feel like a piece of meat. It's interesting because I feel like this film moves quick and yet it doesn't feel rushed at all. Great pacing.
They will have women and children with them.
I don't like his face when he said that, I'll be honest with you. The glee. What a cretin. Oh man. Oh buddy.
Victor, don't go getting too far ahead.
Why do you do that? Call him names. Run him down all the time.
Yeah, I think that's what the thing is that Frodo sees in Gollum.
There's not left in him but lies and deceit.
He sees himself, I feel like, in Gollum.
You have no idea what it did to him. What it's
Yeah.
still doing to him.
Exactly, because Frodo has experienced it as well. And that's the
I want
difference,
to
I
help
think.
him, Sam.
And that's why he has that empathy for Gollum.
Because I have to believe he can come back.
Right, because you want to come back. You want to know that you can.
You can't save him, Mr. Frodo. What do you know about it?
Ooh.
Nothing.
Yeah, see, and that's why he reacted so strongly, because Sam was basically saying you can't come back from that, mate. Right? And that obviously absolutely drives a point into this pain point that Frodo has, I think.
It's the ring.
A little bit. It's a little bit to do with the ring, I'm sure, but like I think it is this internal struggle that he has of like, can I come back from this? I don't think I can. And he sees Gollum as this example.
It's my task. Mine. My own.
Close, wasn't he? My precious.
Don't you know who you sound like?
Yeah, and it's so interesting, this characterization of these guys here. This honestly went over my head as a kid. But this characterization and this back and forth and the nuances in this are so deep. I think Frodo has this fear in him that he's not going to be able to come back from this. And Gollum is an example of not coming back from this, right? And that's why I think he's so desperately tying himself to Gollum almost, because he needs to know that he can come back from it, right? And that's why I think he just snapped at Sam, because Sam was like, no, you can't. But obviously in Sam's mind, he's thinking of Gollum. He's not thinking of Frodo. He doesn't see this insecurity I think that Frodo has. And that's why Frodo reacts so strongly and why Sam doesn't see it coming and goes back to what in his mind is the most obvious thing that must be the issue, the ring, which I think is not too far off the mark, but I think he is off the mark a little bit there. It's teeing up and it's foreshadowing this split later on between them, you know, in the third final film so beautifully. Like it's happening now and it's cracking now and it's done so humanly. You can understand it, right? It's, you know, these emotions at play are very understandable. And again, I like that that's just there under the surface. You might, you know, you don't need that to enjoy the film, but it's there if you want to see it, and you know, it's there to be worked out. Again, it's the film kind of respecting you as the audience and your intelligence, which I really like. It's good writing. It's really good writing.
No, master, yes, false. Cheat you.
And you see the damage that it did to him as well. He was so traumatized that this is his way of dealing with it. I mean, so often the result of that, right? And this DID that I think, you know, Gollum has, which only happens because of deep trauma. You know, that's the root cause of that, really, at least to my knowledge. Maybe I'm wrong, let me know. And this scene here kind of shows that he is redeemable. He is, like, he's got it in him, or at least the desire is there.
See what Smeagol finds?
Yeah, we're seeing the split there.
We needs a few good taters.
Hey, he's not wrong though, is he? Potatoes fix everything. That's all I'll say.
Fried fish.
it to us raw.
You heard it here first. Gollum likes it raw. Do you know what? There's a few jokes that I wish I'd never made. That's one of them.
Servants of Sauron.
Constantly reminded of the enemy, and that there are people
One is gathering.
flocking, to Mordor, to the enemy. They're strengthening.
It's an Oliphant. No one at home will believe this.
Oh, nice that there's a little bit of wonder left in this journey for them. There he is. Guys, a little bit of survival instinct. Yeah, would not go amiss.
His sense of duty was no less than yours, I deem. I wonder what his name is. Where he came from.
It's nice that you get this gentleness from Faramir immediately.
If he was really evil at heart, what lies or threats led him on this long march from home?
Does immediately set in you as the audience that he is someone to be, if not trusted, at least be looked upon with favour, right?
But they're often mistaken for dwarf men.
It's the beards.
I've not seen my niece smile for a long time.
I mean, bless her, she didn't stand a chance, did she? Really, let's be honest with ourselves. Any one of us watches Aragorn, talk to Brago in that stable. Absolute putty. Putty in his hand. Look at him, look at that. One bit of hair behind his ear. What? Who's meant to resist? Who is meant to resist?
Thank you.
Lit. My guy. Well done.
It's good.
My uncle told me
Oh. God, the music is so beautiful, isn't it?
See boy with Anatha.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's still this struggle with him taking his birthright. He's not quite there yet, which I like, it's realistic. He's still struggling, even despite, that little moment at the end of Fellowship with Boromir where he's like our people. There's still work to be done, in his mind, in his heart, on, taking this kingship, taking this responsibility. And we're being shown in this film how he is slowly being given more responsibility after being afraid of it his whole life.
It was a dream, Arwen. Nothing more.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, she ain't dumb, mate. She ain't dumb. Ah, my guys. My guys. God, they're mean, aren't they? Go on, lad. Go on. You got it. Yes, Legolas. Oh, CGI. Hello.
Hey, come on, get me up there.
Oh, man. What a sight.
I can fight!
No! You must do this for me.
She does almost take the role of his son, doesn't she? Because I get that, he's like, no, you can't come to battle. I guess, if his, I don't know, if his son was there, would he take him to battle? I feel like maybe he would. Fair. But at the same time, it is a trope that, the kings send their sons off away into safety to lead the people more so. That turn is so good on the horse. Oh my God. Come on. Yeah. Flashy. But yeah, and trusting, his people with her is a big thing, I think. Oof, man, the physical velocity that you get with all of this, I mean, look, you can see the CGI, you can. That looks good, though. That looks really good for a 20-year-old film.
Bring your pretty face to my eyes.
Put a lot of work into that. Legolas, let him have one. But yeah, the sheer velocity and the weight of that, for example, the powers at play just in this little scene here, so kind of prevalent. I was always terrified of the wargs in this scene. Yes, Gimli. The smell really is your biggest concern right now. King. Yeah, please, someone help this man. Dwarf. Oof. Yeah. Man, the sound design of that is so... Honestly, I mean, hey, the sound design for this whole film is just sublime, isn't it? Let's be honest with ourselves. God. Seriously, the design of these guys. Man, the prosthetics, the costume, it's so good.
I took a little tumble off the cliff.
But hey, the actors are making that work. Just the voice work that they're all doing.
Get the wounded on horses.
Man, in their minds, what a big loss before the eve of battle, right?
Leave the dead.
God, his skin is so smooth. Sorry, Aragorn just fell off a cliff. That should not be my priority. Oh, guys. Oh, guys. There it is. Helm's Deep. Oh, Oh, the music. Oh man, it's so uniquely Rohan as well. That makes no sense, you know what I mean?
Lord Aragorn.
Don't ask, mate. I get it, man. I do. I get it. Aragorn's a babe, right? We all know it. We all know it. We all feel it. We all stand it. But lady, Eowyn, you knew him for like a day.
Bring down the wall. It would take a number beyond reckoning. Thousands.
Tens of thousands.
Man, Christopher Lee is just so good. Like his voice, man. It is so interesting as well how you do see with Gandalf and Ian McKellen embodying this White Wizard so well. His costume and his hair, like
Today is at hand.
the luster of Gandalf the White is just a little bit whiter, and do you know what I mean? Like his wig's a little bit whiter. It's a very subtle thing. It's a very little thing, but the comparison now that we've seen Gandalf the White, it's just a little bit cleaner. His hair is just a little bit whiter, and you come back to Saruman, and you know you do detect the greys and the darker colours in his kind of whole outfit. It's almost kind of representational of that decaying, just visually represented. How did Grima not know about this? I suppose he was in Rohan, right? Fair play. But dude, you wandered in.
There was a time when Saruman would walk in my woods, but now he has a mind of metal.
Again, that representation of this onset of industry and the way that Saruman has changed and how he is this kind of figurehead for this representation of change, and change not necessarily for the better, right?
Saruman's army. The war has started.
And it's telling as well, it's so interesting actually that there's that line, the war has started, right? We've got this obviously Treebeard talking about this representation that Saruman represents, and then in the same scene Merry talks about, yeah, and war, it's war. And it's this trampling of war and fire and ash and smoke and the damage it does to the world, and how that is represented as the evil. Is there confirmation of what that is? Is it Arwen giving him some kind of power? Is it the talisman that he wears that she gave him that maybe helps? Is there some magic involved? Or is it just him, you know, his inner feeling, his inner self fighting with the memory of Arwen, bringing him back, you know, letting him hang on? I love this as well, you know, he set Brago free into the wild. He was, you know, kind to the horse. And in the same way that I think I was talking about Shadowfax, and the way that I love the emphasis given on swords and on beasts of animals, you know, and the importance given to them. I love that kind of coming full circle, you know, him setting it free and giving the horse its own identity and treating the horse as an equal. And then later the horse comes back and Brago comes back and lends Aragorn his saddle one last time. Super poetic.
And there will be no comfort for you. He will come to death.
Such a beautifully orchestrated scene. The voiceover of Elrond and it physically represented by this beautiful scene, you know, and it instills in you, the audience, this tragic future that is going to come to pass, you know, however this goes, it's gonna come to pass, and it hits you right in the feels, man. I get it though, hey, at the end of the day, it's a father to his daughter trying to get her to come with him. And in his very alien perspective almost, right? He's not wrong, but alongside that death there lies happiness as well, you know, for a brief moment that she wouldn't otherwise have got. Yeah. God, poor Arwen, she has such a dilemma on her hands, right? She does choose Aragorn, she does leave her people, she leaves her father, never to be seen again, never to see them again. You know, also the consequences of her decision when she does actually decide to stay, and how it's a happy moment, but there's also a through line of sadness that is given to you as the audience, just in this scene, just in this little set piece, and going back to Rivendell and having that told to us as the audience and put before us visually. I think that's the power that that visual gives you as the audience.
The power of the enemy is growing. Now turns to Gondor. Frodo begins to understand. The quest will claim his life.
That's so interesting because it's presented that she's talking to him, but I don't know, I honestly don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you know. But to me, I kind of almost read that as Galadriel is so far seeing that she can see that. She can see Elrond. I don't know if Elrond can necessarily hear her, but I think it's within the realms of... I don't know, actually, no, because they both have the rings, right? So perhaps they can communicate through that. Maybe there's a link, a bond. But it's so interesting to see them almost interact. How they both, these powerful figures of Middle-earth, how hopeless they are, and how almost the, you know, in their minds the fight has been fought and it's done. They can't, they're just leaving, and they're forsaking the land because they see it as already taken. And again, so sad, you know, there's this through line of tragedy, I think, you know, kind of seeded through the whole trilogy, which I really like. I always feel like tragedy adds an extra layer of intrigue and connection between you and the films and the audience, right? Which makes you feel more for it, even if it doesn't come to fruition. And obviously we know how it goes, but even if it doesn't come to fruition, you still feel that tragedy. And despite the fact that, you know, she's saying Frodo's starting to realise that he's not gonna come back from this journey, I don't think she's wrong there. Because yeah, physically he comes back, but how long does he spend in the Shire? He comes back at the end of the Return of the King after this journey, but he's never content anymore with the Shire. The Shire, he can't ever go back to his old life. His old life is kind of gone, you know. He's been through so much and been through so many hardships that it's kind of tarnished for him, which is why he leaves. It can kind of be read that she's wrong there. I don't think she is.
Do we let them stand alone?
Ah, there you go. No, and then it turns around that tragedy of what she's talking about. It flips it on its head, and it's like, no, she's geeing him up. She's persuading him to lend his aid.
Saruman attacks from Isengard, Sauron from Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
The fight will come to men on both fronts.
Yeah, and there we have it, the visual representation of these two towers and the power that they have together, and the importance of dismantling that kinship, that alliance. It's why Gandalf is so determined to conquer Saruman and save Rohan. That's the key. As much as it is at this point, I hesitate to say it's skirmish, because I feel like that devalues what they go through at Helm's Deep. But it's so important. As much as it is one fight of many, one battle in the war, it's integral. It's integral to the success.
My men tell me that you are Orc spies.
Spies? Now wait just a minute.
I swear, why were you offended there about the spy bit, Sam? I'll be honest with you. Everyone keeps calling hobbits orcs, and I don't know, maybe this is more a comment on me, but I'd be so offended. I'd be like, excuse me?
And this is Samwise Gamgee,
Your bodyguard?
his gardener.
I love how he says it like, actually no, something way more hard. I'm his gardener.
We set out from Rivendell with 7 companions and Boromir of Gondor.
Well played, you know. This is what saves, I feel like, Frodo in this moment.
You're a friend of Boromir?
Because he mentions the Fellowship and Boromir. I tell you, man, that boat is in good shape for going down a waterfall.
A place of light, and so it shall be once more!
It's lovely that you get this as an appendage to, you know, the Fellowship of the Ring and the duality of his presentation in that film. Yeah, and how you do get the opportunity to see him in the full light, the full strength that he had.
Where is Gondor's finest? Where is my firstborn?
What a c***o, isn't he, Denethor? I just want to give Faramir a hug.
They say you vanquished the enemy almost single-handed.
My guy.
The victory belongs to Faramir also.
Yeah, see, and again.
But for Faramir, the city would still be standing. Were you not entrusted to protect it?
What a bit.
I would have done, but our numbers were too few.
Oh, too few. You let the enemy walk in and take it on a whim.
Also, look at the little acting that Sean Bean was doing there. I always find it interesting to... Maybe shouldn't do this so often, but I do always find it interesting to watch actors that aren't speaking in scenes. I feel like that's kind of where you see like really good actors, you know, in the backgrounds, kind of reacting to what's being said. At the end of the day, a lot of acting is listening.
You give him no credit, and yet he tries to do your will.
And again, you just get these little scenes that just enamor you to Boromir.
Faramir, I know his uses and they are few.
Dude, he's the worst.
The weapon of the enemy has been found.
Isildur's Bane.
Yeah, and it also, there you go. And that's so interesting how he acted that, because there's fear there. The fear that we see absent in him in Fellowship, but the fear that we see in Aragorn. But then, you know, you see here, and it informs, again, what we saw in that first film, because, you know, this strength that he had, this need to protect his people, his city, I think came from within. But I do think as well, you see here how much he was pressured by his father, right? And how overbearing his father was, that lent perhaps Boromir this need to succeed, this need to get the ring, even though I think in himself he probably knew, and he did. I think you can see in the Fellowship that he knew it was the wrong thing to try and take it forcefully from Frodo. I don't think Boromir wanted to do that. I think, you know, it was the ring preying on these like inner things, inner feelings, inner thoughts that he was having. Sorry, I'll stop talking about it, but I just think this is so interesting how it just, I will say, in Fellowship, Boromir's my favourite character, and so that's why I'm kind of, you know, waxing a little bit on this stuff, because I do like how it informs what we've already seen, and just adds to it a little bit more, you know, even though you feel like you've left Boromir, and Boromir's gone and finished, And, you know, you still see... And again, it draws back to this tragedy, this through line of tragedy that the film is constantly kind of pummeling at you. And at the end of the day, if you feel something about a piece of media, a piece of art, then you are going to connect to it. You are going to like it more. And I feel like these kind of subtle hints to this tragedy and the reminders that you get of these tragedies that are happening all the way through, right, that aren't so overt, they're quite subtle, just kind of serve to connect you deeply to these films. And I think it's done so well. My God, I honestly, the nostalgia I get from the music. Nowadays, if without watching the film, if you play this music for me, I would be like Gondor. It's so recognisable, but it's also so similar. It's this similar theme with a completely different mix and tone. Sweet! So interesting as well, because this is so important.
He is our guide.
If Gollum dies here, they fail. But this is also almost an irrevocable step. That once we get through this, and, you know, obviously we see that it appears to Gollum that Frodo has betrayed him. All of that progress and all of that kinship that Frodo finds with Gollum, it's the first step to breaking that. And again, I think Gollum, you know, Smeagol, he's on such a slippery slope to redemption. And I think he honestly could have got there with the right circumstances. And again, layer of tragedy all the way through.
Trust, Master.
And it's this that makes Smeagol unable to trust him from here going forward. Master! Yeah. And that's just enough to make Smeagol give in to Gollum. God. And just enough wiggle room for Gollum to come back in. So sad.
No, it's business.
And fear from Faramir, not pity.
What did they steal?
Eagerness, a complete lack of empathy for Gollum.
Put it on. Disappear.
I can't. You were right, Sam.
Bless him, yeah. Even in this film, in the second film.
The ring's taking me, Sam.
So far from the end.
If I put it on.
And he's struggling this hard. Really puts into context the struggle that he goes through and how hard it is from minute to minute.
The ring of power within my grasp.
And I love how the flashback scene with Denethor, Boromir, Faramir informs the strength of Faramir here, and how, like Galadriel said, all he has to do is reach out his hand and take it here. In one stroke, he could earn the accolade, the affection of his father by doing the thing that Boromir couldn't. You know, the thing that we've seen in that flashback is so painful for Faramir, and he could do that here, and the fact that he doesn't, is just so much stronger. The decision that he makes here is so much stronger because of that flashback. That flashback did so much, I feel.
Chance for Faramir, Captain of Gondor.
Yeah.
To show his quality.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not saying this. I don't want this to sound condescending. I feel like it is. What I'm saying is obvious. Like, it's literally been shown in the film. But like, it is. Honestly, it's not me trying to tell you. It's just me nerding out about it. I'll be honest with you.
No!
Interesting, actually, as well.
Leave him alone! Don't you understand?
Yeah.
He's got to destroy it! Into Mordor!
Pause. I think him seeing Gollum, and Faramir's not stupid, I think perhaps he's putting together, like, what the ring did to Gollum, right? He's looking at Gollum and looking down at Gollum, you know, fearfully, and like, oh my God, what has happened to you? You know, almost. I think there was a little bit of that in Faramir's face. And obviously he just saw that. And Frodo, and how the ring is corrupting Frodo as well, right? He's seen these two examples, this time lapse almost of like, this is where Frodo is now, and how quickly it's working on Frodo. And then, you know, he saw Gollum before this, and it's like, right, that is what Frodo's going towards. That is what anyone who takes this ring is moving towards, irrevocably. I can't take it. I can't. That's what happens to anyone. And maybe he's also thinking, if you pair the ring with his father, who is a piece of work. And he's seen that Frodo's a good person, cares for Gollum. You know, that scene where he cares for Gollum and is trying to protect Gollum and fighting for Gollum's life. Faramir can see that Frodo's a good person, and that's what the ring's doing to a good person, never mind Denethor. I think all of these things are playing around in Faramir's head and informing this decision that he makes.
Will you not help him?
Captain, the ring will go to Gondor.
Okay, it's a slow burn, fair play. But that's the thing, I think, you know, there are powerful emotions at play within Faramir here, and it's absolutely understandable. I'll tell you what, Aragorn, that is good timing, mate. And it's absolutely understandable that he would have a moment of like, no, I'm going to take it. Man, I feel like it's easy to forget that, like, he literally fell off a mountain. Oh, come on. What a view. Yeah, he literally fell off a mountain and was half dead, and he's ridden all this way, and then he fights a whole battle. The tenacity, the sheer will of Aragorn is just unmatched, man.
Where is it? Where is it?
You look terrible.
Alright, Legolas. Man, though, that entrance. I remember that being in the trailer. Such a cool image.
No army has ever breached the Deeping Wall.
These are Uruk-hai.
Yeah, why would you tempt fate, dude?
I know how to defend my own keep.
Again, those little touches of, you know, this bonding of the Fellowship and Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas. Little touches of kinship. I love those little moments.
We will outlast them.
They do not come to destroy Rohan's crops or villages. They come to destroy his people.
What would you have me do?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Even before the fight, there's a fight within.
The Ents have not troubled about the wars for a very long time.
Better off for it, mate, to be fair to you. Hi.
Aragorn, you must rest.
Yeah.
You're no use to us half alive.
Good, I love Legolas for that. For real. He needs to just chill for a second here.
Let me stand at your side. You do not command the others to stay. They fight beside you because they would not be parted from you. Because they love you.
I do think that, you know, the things that she feels for him, they do go deeper than just romantic love. I do feel like Aragorn is this figure, this character that just, he makes people gravitate towards him, and that's just who he is, right? He's a leader. He's a born leader. You know, he is charismatic. He is just quietly authoritative in the best way, you know. And I think people are drawn to him. I'm almost tempted to be like, why is there this bond between her and Aragorn? But honestly, it's like I said, I do feel like, and it's sad, but I do feel like Aragorn is the first person to see her for who she is and what she wants. You know, there was that tender moment that we had where she was kind of saying that Theoden was trying to send her away and, you know, make her mind the people and essentially giving her womanly tasks. And there was this beautiful acting by Viggo where he had this such tender kind of empathy for her. And I honestly think the way that he has been and validated her and supported her or tried to through that, I think honestly that's probably the first time she's had that. So I do get the bond that she feels towards him as well, right? And it does make sense as much as, you know, it's been a short amount of time. I do like this idea that it is platonic, that it is an element of this love that she speaks of is the same love, for example, this same kinship almost that Legolas and Gimli have for Aragorn and the bond they share. I do feel like that's how she feels with him as well, right? Because again, he is this person who just lets you in, who does support you, who does validate you. I think the obvious thing is that, you know, she's fallen in love with him and all this stuff. I just find that a little unrealistic. I feel like it is a little bit, it has a bit more of a deeper meaning than just romantic.
They're frightened. You can see it in their eyes. Then I shall die as one of them.
I love the respect that he gives, to the people around him here. He's not hiding. And again, it's this element to Aragorn that's so, you know, it just draws you into him. That sounded weird, you know what I'm saying? In the same way that I think, you know, that I was trying to eloquate that I think Eowyn has been drawn to him as well in a way that I don't think is just romantic. I think there is more to that bond. And I just think it's an element of Aragorn. And I think him going into, you know, English there is him giving the respect to the people around him. Not that I think Legolas is trying to offer disrespect there with why I think he's trying to, you know, save them from this hopelessness. But I think Aragorn doing that and announcing that is like him resolutely putting himself alongside them, right? And he's kind of making a statement there of like, I'm with you. However this goes, I'm going to see you through this. And there's strength in that. And we're seeing again him subtly taking on this mantle of leader, of eventually king, and we're seeing the little stepping stones that he's taking to get there. It doesn't just happen. We are seeing him preparing for that role.
Who am I gambling? Where is the horn that was blowing?
Easy to forget that Aragorn is older than Theoden.
How did it come to this?
And that because of that, I do think Theoden respects Aragorn a lot and looks up to Aragorn a lot.
Say that it is hopeless.
This is a good sword.
Man, he is such a good leader.
There is always hope.
Yeah, I'm not trying to throw shade on Theoden, right? I do think he's a decent king, decent character. I don't mean this to bring him down, and I get that Aragorn, you know, is in the role that he's in now and he isn't king, right? He's not. But, you know, just the little differences that you see between kind of obviously Theoden kind of in that room, right, with Gamling, getting his armor put onto him. And again, we're seeing here, Aragorn dressing himself. There's just subtle differences, and I do feel like they are kind of subtly contrasted against each other. The differences are there. Like I said, I don't think Theoden's a bad king or anything, but I do feel like the differences between them demonstrate how extraordinary Aragorn is. And he is this leader that is, he's within the keep. He's, you know, talking to a boy, giving a boy hope, right? That's kind of one of the most important things, right? You can dress as a king in this fine shiny armor and ride out at the head of your men and inspire them that way. Absolutely fine. That works too. But equally, you can be there in the dirt and the rough, as Aragorn was, sitting on the steps, watching everyone kind of rush by. And he sees the boy, and he sees the hopelessness, and he takes the time. And I just feel like those little subtle differences do make Aragorn this character that is beloved, and this king that later, by the people in the film, hold up to this high esteem. And I think he deserves it, right? And you see the building blocks of that here. Yeah, this emphasis on him dressing himself, and while Theoden was being dressed by his man. Mm-hmm.
You are most welcome.
And there we see, you know, Aragorn's being strong for everyone around him, but you see there a little bit of the slipping of that facade in the way that you see Aragorn's relief there. And it just makes everything that Aragorn was doing before this fight hit so much harder and feels so much better, because like, that just demonstrates that even though he was saying and doing what he was doing all that time, he also is scared. He also isn't sure if they're gonna win.
You could have picked a better spot.
Your friends are with you, Aragorn.
Let's hope they last the night.
Gimli! I would be so mad if I was stood there and it started raining, of all things, right? Like, you have all this arrayed against you, you see that coming at you, then it starts raining. I'd be like, of course, whatever. I'll just die. I'd be having such a tantrum, I'll be honest with you. I'd be throwing my helmet, I'd be like, guys, this isn't ideal. I love that image so much. The steam.
Or would you like me to find you a box?
Yeah, they really should not be drawing those bows yet. I mean, let's be honest, they were asking for it. They were. I feel like that's information you shouldn't be whispering to yourself, Legolas. I'll be honest with you, those arrows are way too close to the guys on the wall for my liking. Yeah, and again, you see the difference between Aragorn and Theoden. Very clearly panning to both of them during this fight, right? And he's kind of passively just there and, you know, he's doing his thing, whatever. But Aragorn's on the wall. You have Aragorn directing the archers, you have Theoden.
I'm on 17!
Oh my goodness. Nice, do it again. And then you have Theoden also, you know, directing the archers over on his side too. And I just feel like it is obvious that they are juxtaposing the two together. But again, there's difference, right? Theoden is over there, kind of a little bit safer, and he, I don't know, I feel like, you know, that makes sense because he's the king, I get it. But I just feel like even if Aragorn was the king at this point, he would still be where he is in the thick of it.
We have agreed. You are not orcs.
I mean, that's a success, boys. Exactly. Good Pippin.
Hasty. Our friends are out there.
I love this idea as well that Gandalf sent them, these two, along with Treebeard, because I feel like he kind of suspected that they would do what they eventually do, right? I don't think Gandalf knows. I don't think he knows whether it'll actually bear any fruit. But I think, you know, he is kind of maneuvering things into play and hoping they pan out. Nice as well, we are seeing his prowess as a commander.
Is this all you can conjure?
And then he's just there tempting fate. Theoden! You know, even in the thick of battle, Aragorn sees and redirects the archers. Good commander, right? Bando. Oh, man. Fair response. Man, this boy. Honestly, Aragorn goes through so much, I swear. He's getting so beaten up. Peter! I didn't realise he was in Two Towers. Oh, and the absolute heroics of Gimli there, you know, and you see this bond, this kinship that he has with Aragorn again, you know. Yes! Always the first to charge in as well, isn't he? Oh, here we go. Yes! My goodness, sir. Honestly, this was the coolest thing I ever saw as a kid. Absolute smashed it, mate. I swear to God. Oh, so pumped. I'm so pumped. Oh, sorry, I'll calm down. What a scene! What a scene.
But you're part of this world, aren't you?
Nice. What a powerful line from him.
You must help. Please.
But your part in this tale is over.
Yeah. And again, you hear that shadow of war in this film, you know. There's that line in Fellowship that Gandalf says to Frodo. The one where he says, those who live through such times don't want to... That quote, you know what I'm talking about. I remember saying in that film that it was such a kind of a war veteran line, right? And it just embodied, I feel like, this idea of war. And it was words that you feel are spoken by someone who was been in war, right, and seen the horrors of it, and you know, felt the desperation in the depths of it as well. And that line from Merry, I feel like, is so beautifully kind of reminiscent of this shadow of war, right, and when it happens, and those that are in that war and in that fight, and how kind of almost hopeless and angry, you know, you can imagine they would get when people don't come to help. And it's like, why are you not helping prevent this? These atrocities, these things are happening, and we're fighting. Why aren't other people? We're all part of this world. You know what I mean? And it's a line that just evokes that, I feel like. It's what it made me think of anyway.
We don't belong here, Mary.
Man, I forgot that they fail, I guess.
What can we do in the end?
You can have second breakfast, son. That's what you can do.
And the woods of Tuckborough and Buckland will burn.
It's lovely to see this in Merry's character as well.
What's green and good in this world will be gone.
There you go, green and good in this world. That theme, again, coming through. All we've got to do is spin, Annie. I do wish I cared a little bit more about this guy, I'll be honest with you. You know, dramatic music playing. I tell you what though, mate. If you can't walk that off, an orc walked off a spear to the back, so come on. Do you know what I mean? Stand up. I love this image there. I love that image there. Do you know what I mean? Like him, an elf, who, if he chose, he could live forever, right? And he sees the floor of the dead, and it's this realization on his face that he's going to be one of them, and he never had to be. I feel like there's a little bit of hopelessness, a little bit of kind of, oh God, like fear in that little look that he does there, and the way that it's presented, and that he's looking at this floor of the dead, and kind of a horrifying image, a horrifying thought, right? Especially, like, put yourself in his shoes, right? He could have lived forever. And the way for a moment Aragorn stops him from falling to the floor of the dead and holds him for a second. So beautiful. Dear Lord, sir. This man just going the extra mile. Dear God.
To the gate. Draw your sword.
About time, son. Instantly gets stabbed. That'll do. Yeah, that's a long day's work, that, to be fair to him.
Oh, come on, we can take him. Toss me.
The little look.
I said you'll have to toss me.
The little look. And again, I just love that you see this little trust here as well.
Don't tell the elf.
Go on, boys. Yeah. What? Hero, man. I'll stop. I'm sorry. I will. Come on. Come on. You feel it too. I'll tell you what, though. The athleticism on show from the Uruk-hai is top notch, I'll be honest with you. I love how that Uruk-hai was just like, do you know what? I ain't gonna stab him. I'm gonna hug him. Hey, man. You get the opportunity to hug Aragorn, we'd all do it.
If we go south, we can slip past Saruman unnoticed. The closer we are to danger, the further we are from harm.
Checks out.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Don't think about it too hard, mate. He's thinking back to the smoke that he saw. There it is, big boy. What are you gonna do?
A wizard should know better.
Yeah.
Look, the trees. They're moving.
Yeah, and look, this is great and all, but it is kind of a representation of war, isn't it? You know, I feel like people's help does extend only so far until it, you know, the fighting affects them. Which I don't begrudge people, by the way, but yeah, it's just an observation. Tell you what, they came quick, didn't they? Came rushing out of there.
It's calling to him, Sam. His eye is almost on me.
The fact that he can sense that kind of demonstrates his kinship now with the ring as well. You know, it's almost like they know each other better. Yike. I do wish in this film there'd been a little bit less overt, kind of powerful representation of like the Nazgul on the backs of, you know, those beasts, right? I mean, okay, listen to me, just hear me out for a second, because I do feel like they'd be so much scarier. If you look at the archways and the little paths in the city of Osgiliath there. I don't know, maybe if you put a scene together and these, you know, the Nazgul kind of stalking through it, and, you know, you turn a corner and there's a Nazgul there and it slowly turns towards you. I just feel like that would be so terrifying, you know? I do feel like there's a subtle terror in the Fellowship of the Ring with them on the horses. They seem so much closer and so much kind of more, almost scarier and deadlier for that, even though, you know, in this film they have this kind of overbearing display of power on these, you know, huge flying beasts, right? I'm not saying they're not scary or anything, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a little bit of subtlety lost that the Fellowship of the Ring had, that they kind of lose a little bit in this film and going forward into Return of the King.
It is over.
You said this fortress would never fall while your men defend it.
And again,
they have died defending it.
Yeah, while Theoden is giving up and giving into the hopelessness of the situation, Aragorn's there again to pick him back up and pull him forward and be like, dude.
Send word for the women and children to make for the mountain pass and barricade the end.
Ride out with me.
There you go, there it is. Look at him. Leading again.
Ride out and meet them.
Yeah, paving the way, offering a way out of this.
Look to my coming at first light on the 5th day.
I love as well as a kid. I completely forgot about that, I will be honest with you, until this moment. There was so much going on that you just get sucked into it and you just forget.
One last time. Yes!
Nice. Man, this is so satisfying. It's like getting a strike in bowling, do you know what I mean? Like, there he is. Yeah, boy. That's the one. What you got, mate? What you got?
Go hit him!
Yes, power move. I swear though, this hill is so steep, they would all stack it on the way down. Look at that. You would stack that. Oh man. You'd all go tumbling. Whatever. We'll look over it. I don't care. Look how steep it is. God, the poor horses though. Oh, the music, the lights. Yes, boy. The White Wizard as he should be. Oh, these guys were not prepared. Nice. I like this guy. He's having fun with it. Lads. I tell you what, the accuracy with that, mate. That's skill. He's been practicing that, man, I swear. Do you know what I mean? Like, what sports games have the Ents got? That's all I'm saying, because I want to see that, you know? Olympics for the Ents.
A hit. A fine hit.
See, I love how it's kind of sport to Treebeard. I also love, you know, in this fantasy world, you know, in this very unique fantasy setting here, we see the green things, the wild, the Ents, the trees, hitting back, man. Oh god, honestly, if only in real life this happened. But it's nice, right? It's a release, it's a representation, I guess, of what would be the best thing to happen, you know? A redress of, you know, a balanced redress. Man, I swear this scene is just ASMR as well, because like just washing all this away, just cleaning it, it's so grimy, do you know what I mean? Like honestly, that place has not seen a clean in a good long while, so ticking a lot of boxes, that's all I'm saying. Ooh.
It's your Sam.
Oh. Yeah, both of them seeing how far it's taken him.
I can't do this, Sam.
I like that there are these moments of doubt in Frodo's mind.
It's all wrong.
Oh.
By rights, we shouldn't even be here.
Yeah. Oh god, and it just reminds you how far from home they are.
Even darkness must pass.
Yeah. Something that these films really do is they really just ramp up the hope, and they really focus on that element and the optimism, you know, despite all this blackness and war.
Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't.
Such a poet.
What are we holding on to, Sam?
Oh, bless him. When is Gollum looking at that and seeing how if he'd had his Sam? Oh, and Faramir sees it too. Stop! Stop. I'm a gentle soul. I can't take all this, mate. They were all watching. They were behind. Guys, it's not a play. But no, seriously for a second though. That's so heartbreaking, the way that Gollum saw that. And I do feel like, maybe I'm wrong there, but my interpretation of that at least was that he was seeing that and lamenting that he didn't have a Sam. And God, and isn't that the lamentation at the end of the day, that we all don't have a Sam? I mean, some of us do, to be fair, and that's fair. But like, specifically, do you know what I mean?
If you let them go, your life will be forfeit.
Oh, f*** him. Cold Denny, do you know what I mean?
And it is forfeit.
Yes, what a champ, mate. What a hero.
Release them.
Once more displaying the strength of men and how it can so often win out, right? It's always balancing on a knife's edge and it can go either way. Oofed. Broccoli. Yeah, I feel like as the movie goes on, I do feel like their relationship is more platonic and it is just a bond akin to, like, you know, Gimli and Aragorn, Legolas and Aragorn, which I like a lot more, honestly.
42.
42?
Petty. Petty.
He was twitching.
He was twitching. She's got my axe.
I love that he just whips out the pipe. It's been sat there this whole time.
Get a dongle.
Is that its name?
Yes!
Again, he's...
It is the only way.
I mean, Gollum's right. How else would they get in?
I must.
Please let go of Gollum. Do you know what I mean? Like, at this point, going forward, I do feel like Gollum Smeagol is shown so much disdain. And like no one's gentle with him except Frodo, but then, you know, I feel like we've seen that, you know, broken trust.
If you bring them to harm.
Yeah, it's like Faramir, you know, guy, you're great and all, you made a great decision here, but that isn't so great. You know, you're sending Gollum off and you are not going to be with them. You can't be the custodian. All you're doing is beating Gollum down.
Mr. Frodo didn't mean for them rangers to hurt you.
Oh, I
No,
forgot
that-
about
no.
this. A little bit of gentleness from
Trying to
Sam.
say so there's no hard feelings.
Oof.
No hard feelings. Gollum.
There it is. Gollum's back.
It's very decent of you.
Oh man, it's just not enough, is it?
His retribution swift.
Yeah, but they've paved the way.
The battle for Middle-earth is about to begin.
My guy, at least let him enjoy this victory. Do you know what I mean? Before you go like, oh, by the way, there's this to sort out.
Frodo wouldn't have got far without Sam.
We love to see it, don't we?
Samwise the Brave.
Yes, you are.
Master.
Oh man.
Looks after us.
Oh, and he's trying.
Broke his promise.
Yeah, but Gollum is so strong, you know, in him now.
Betrayed us.
This is the thing, the betrayal, right? It just paved the way for Gollum to come in and sway Smeagol. And again, you know, so beautifully tragic. Because I honestly do think, and hey, you let me know, what do you think, right? I honestly think there was a possibility that he could get redeemed.
Come on, hobbits.
Like, I would compare Gollum Smeagol to an addict, and the way is so easily paved to relapse, I think, and I think that's what we're seeing a little bit, right? There's this addiction to the ring that is so hard to kind of separate yourself from, and so intoxicating, right? And I think that, like I say, the betrayal, I just think it was just, Gollum was on a slippery slope, Smeagol was on a slippery slope, there it is, a slippery slope on that path to relapsing, and that was the opening, right? That betrayal, it was the opening for that. There we go, there it is. All right, there we go, Two Towers finished. Do you know what, I will be completely honest with you. I'm going to split this into two parts, but I think at one point I was genuinely going to split them into three parts. Like, there was so much more to this film that I ended up just kind of, I guess, diving a little bit deeper into and analysing more. So I honestly didn't think I was going to kind of analyse as much as I have. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Sorry, I know that I can occasionally talk a little bit more than some people like, you know. It's weird because my channel is a reaction channel, I guess, in a way, you know, it falls under that umbrella, but it's not really a reaction channel. It is more a chatty kind of, you know, it's almost like a combination, I guess, of a podcast type thing and reaction type thing. It's this, yeah, I don't know, it's hard to categorize sometimes. So yeah, thank you for bearing with me, and if you've made it this far, thank you, you gem, you absolute gem, mate. No, honestly, again, you know, something that has been all the way through these extended versions and rewatching these films as an adult has been, I think, you know, my enjoyment and my, I guess, love for these films, because I did before, you know, rewatching them here and watching these extended versions for the first time, for example. You know, they were beloved to me. They were part of my childhood, part of growing up, and I love them so much. You know, they are these things that are kind of, you know, they're very magical. They do fantasy so well, right? They lean into the fantasy, I think, and they make them feel so romantic in a lot of ways as well. But even so, I think, you know, my love of them has been heightened by these, and I think I appreciate so much more all the little nuances and the, you know, the things that I pointed out and talked about a little bit more and fleshed out in my own mind a little bit more. You know, sometimes me talking is just me kind of stream of consciousness, I think, and almost working it out and for myself and trying new ideas, and it's just this kind of splurge of talking about it. So yeah, I think it's me talking about something as much as I have, I think, about this film is a reflection of how much I've enjoyed it, and that is something I think that, you know, these extended versions and watching them again as an adult has given me, which I really appreciate. So yeah, we'll leave that there. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed, if this is the first video you've seen of me, or this Two Towers, you know, commentary two-parter is the first you've seen of me, and you enjoyed it, hey, have a little bit of a scroll down and subscribe. Why not, mate? Hey, you enjoyed it, let's get some more content your way. So let's do that. Return of the King will be coming after this at some point. These are, you know, huge endeavors to kind of get these videos out, 4 hours and everything, and I do like a weekly show as well. So yeah, they will be coming, but bear with me. I do talk a lot and it takes a long time to edit that down as well. So thank you for being here, thank you for joining me, thank you as always to my lovely patrons who support me in the way that they do. Anyone interested in that, by the way, I am covering Sandman over there at the moment as well. Who knows, by the time this comes out, perhaps all of that will be up. Links down below generally if you want to support me, have a look down there. And yeah, we'll leave it there this time. Thank you once more, and I'll see you soon.